Got a couple packaged from 5K Toys. Let's check them out. Definitely excited to open this box because of who's in it. What's up, everyone? So again, two packages from 5K Toys. I'm going to save this one for last. Let's check this one out. It's from the Patriot Studio. And when I saw this on 5K Toys, I'm like, yeah, I could definitely use this. So here's what's in the package. It's basically a chair, but this chair looked pretty awesome. So here you have the front of the box with the Patriot Studio, DLC 2.0, 112 miles real masterpiece. Not sure exactly what that is, but here you get the Patriot Studio again and a little bit about the product. Pretty much the warning, it does come with small parts, so keep it away from kids 3 and under. And again, the Patriot Studio here. Not a whole lot on the top except for a little bit of the decoration of the chair. And then same thing here at the bottom. So basically, let's check out this chair. All right, let's take a closer look at this chair. The details in it are very nice. You could just look at all the intricate details here. The little symbol here, the deer heads, just the details in this really nice. It's a good idea to have, if you notice, the ears on this side and here, they're more up to allow the person sitting in the chair, that way they won't break the ears off. The antlers are definitely very detailed and nice. I would caution, if you do get this chair, where you put it, make sure it's not somewhere where it can easily be knocked off, because I'm pretty sure that these antlers can possibly break off, especially top parts of the chair. Again, real nice detail in here, and in the woodworking you see some either copper or bronze, little accents here on the details. You see some of the detail here on the armrest, like the fur of the deer or elk. The back of the chair and the seat is basically, it's a hard plastic. There's no give, and they did some nice aging to the back of the chair, a little bit on here. Here's the side and the back, and the other side. Here's the bottom. They didn't really put a whole lot of wood grain detail in here, but the color is nice, and whoever you decide to put on this chair would look pretty awesome in it. I will be putting the figure that I got on this chair, and we'll see how she looks. But overall, this is pretty awesome. Now to move on to this one, again from 5K Toys. This is a figure that I have been looking forward to for quite a while, since she was announced. So yeah, let's get her open. So here we have Bernice from Patriot Studio, along the lines of Combatants Fight for Glory. This is Bernice 2.0, I believe. Again, this is for 15 and up. Warning, choking hazards. Keep out of the reach for younger kids. Here's a picture of the figure, number 21. And here's a little backstory about Bernice. She is Greek. She's not part of a specific group. But here you can basically pause it if you want to read the whole story. And then a little bit of backstory about the figures and this line. And here's the top with the Zesray Studio sticker on it. And then barcode, Zesray Studios, social media. But yeah, let's get this figure open and check her out. Here we have Bernice out of the packaging. She does come with some nice accessories. We have the figure, her armor is very detailed, we'll get into that. Her helmet, 2 swords, her shield, a spear that you can put together. She also comes with a pair of bare feet, and her default hands are for the swords or the spear or the shield. And then here's some relaxed hands, open palm hands, and then a couple fists. Also her backdrop, if you want to use it for photos or whatever, it's pretty nice, pretty much of a Coliseum. You can keep it somewhat flat, or it does come, folded because it's in the box. But the backdrop is nice, so you can use that. Now let's just take a closer look at some of the details in Bernice. Look at all that detail work in her armor. That's, it's just pretty awesome. It isn't weathered. It's like the armor is pretty new. Same with the little tassels, the leather, or arm gauntlets. There's no real weathering, but the details are really nice. This figure looks sweet. I like how all the little rivets and the tassels are painted. It's not just all this reddish brown color. Here's where you can put one of the swords, and a closer look at the armor in her back. The face details are nice. One of the things that you can do is you can remove this hairpiece just like this, and I even think she kind of looks good without that extra hairpiece. But you remove the one hairpiece to be able to put the helmet on, and I think she looks pretty sweet with that. The details of the helmet, again, are pretty wicked cool. It's just that, again, in the helmet, there's no weathering. It's all clean. In the little feathers, the headdress, there is some nice detail and, weathering or aging here, but a lot of the little different washes helps makes the detail of the feathers come out, and that looks pretty awesome. Right before I start going over some of her articulation, I'm just going to let you know that since her armor and stuff, she's very modular. You can remove, pretty much all this armor. So a lot of her, the arms will come off, the legs can pop off, but that's fine as long as you're still able to pop them in. It's all good. So her arm, even with the pauldrons, can go all the way around. There is no bicep swivel. There's no real butterfly joint, but the way they do the shoulder, you can get some good range. Let me just get this back in. And it seems like her hair wants to come off, so I'm just going to move that. But she does have good range in her elbows, and it does swivel there. Her hands are on I think it's a ball peg, so they will move, and you can either have them going in and out or up and down. You just got to twist and move it, and you can get it to go up and down. But her arms will come up to basically a T pose. There is some twist with the armor on. In the body, you can get some twist. You can't get a whole lot of ab crunch, or you can get some back bend, but with the armor, it's not really soft enough to get her to crunch that much. The legs will kick out. Unfortunately, there's no thigh swivel. The legs will kind of rotate a little bit on their own, and you can get the legs to come out this much. Goes back pretty well. And a double knee, it'll go past 90. There is no cut at the calf. The feet will either, it can go down about this much, come up to about there, and it does have an ankle rocker. There is no toe joint, but I'm sure you can definitely get her into a lot of different poses. This figure is awesome, and if you weren't able to pre-order her on 5K Toys, you might be able to get lucky on AliExpress. But yeah, now I'm already seeing her going for $80 plus on eBay, so good luck. But 5K Toys definitely does a pretty good job on their women, or pretty much good job on a lot of their figures. But I'm going to change her up a little bit and show off some of her other accessories. But here, when you're changing out the legs, you want to be careful of this. It's very thin. You can break it. I've seen some on videos. People, broke theirs, and I don't know, they either complain about it or try to get a replacement or whatever. But I mean, it's not really going to be seen, so I don't know why some people were mad about that. They should have definitely been more careful. But yeah, this thing is very thin, so just be aware of that. Also, when I get the legs put back on, she'll definitely have the bikini bottom attached. So basically, here's Bernice with most of her armor off. Like I said, keeping the bottom and her top armor on for some obvious reasons, but you can see I will bring the armor down a little bit. That's where the movement, the articulation is with her body. This is where the twisting, the back bend, and little ab crunch happens. Let me see if I can get it down a little bit more so you can kind of see it, and you can twist. And the back bend, it's still about the same, just because even though this plastic is very flexible and softer, she still doesn't have much of an ab crunch. And you see her with her open hands. Here's Bernice with her more relaxed hands. And here's Bernice with her fists. Here we have Bernice back with all of her armor on, holding her shield and her helmet. And one of the cool things about her shield, at least, is, well, there goes her helmet, but look at the detail in the shield. The Pegasus looks really nice, but I like all the scratches and dents you see on the shield. It would be nice to see some of the scratches on her armor and some weathering on her swords and all, which we'll take a closer look at here in just a moment. So first up is one of her swords. This style is mostly seen in the Greek type weaponry. It looks nice. There's just not a whole lot of, again, weathering or details on it. There's no chipping on the blade, on the handle. It's kind of just like a wooden handle. There's no real detail on it. It's just a brownish color. I mean, there is some nice detail on the blade, but that's about it. Here's a sword you might recognize. It's very similar to the swords that they used in the movie 300. This one has a groove in the blade and then a little more detail in the handle. You kind of see some of the wraps, but again, there's no weathering or chipping. But I mean, overall, it's a pretty cool looking sword. Here's her spear. Also, you might recognize it from the movie 300. This is pretty much the spears that they used in it. This is a Spartan type weapon they used. Not a whole lot of detail again. You see some of the wrapping and the handle. No real detail of the wood area. It's just kind of that brownish color. There is some detail in the long spear area, and then some in the shoulder end. I mean, it looks cool, and I'm pretty sure it would work nice if you knew how to use it. Just watch some of the fighting parts of the movie. But yeah, that's her spear. For a little size comparison, here's Bernice next to a Figma Link and a Plunderling. Here she is standing next to a Star Wars Black Series AT-AT driver and Prince Shisor. Here she is standing next to G.I. Joe Classified Zatanna and Dragon Star's Android 18. And here's Bernice standing next to Gold Hilder from Patriot Studio and Marvel Legends Green She-Hulk. Lastly, here's Bernice with a couple more Patriot Studio Combatants Fight for Glory figures. Red Rhino, which I believe was an event exclusive figure, and then the Longtooth. These guys are pretty big. You saw how Bernice compared to some of the other figures. So yeah, pretty good size. Here we have Bernice. She is sitting on the chair that I showed earlier, and with her trophy next to the chair. And I also put a couple of the swords on the top of the chair, and you saw her shield next to her. I would have liked to have added the spear, but the spear is really long and I don't really have something to hold it, vertically. But yeah, I think she looks pretty awesome. The figure overall, it does have some issues, but that's usually with me, with my hand issues and all. Some things I do kind of struggle with, but I know a lot of other people don't have a lot of those issues. But she is awesome. A lot of nice articulation, but yeah, it would be nice if it had a more of a thigh swivel, maybe a cut in the calf also. And I personally like a nice toe joint. But overall, I think this figure, is really wicked. It also would have been nice to have maybe a little more ab crunch. But again, with the armor she's wearing, you wouldn't have a whole lot of movement anyway. But would I recommend the figure? Definitely. If you like, gladiator type figures or some kind of fantasy mythology type figures, definitely would, I would try to get this one if you don't already have her. And if you do get it and you haven't opened her yet, just be aware of some things that could happen when you're modifying her, especially around the crotch area. If you pull too hard, you're going to break it. Just be a little bit gentle with it. But if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Let me know if you're going to pick her up. Also, let me know what you think of the chair. I like it. It would have been nice, though, if the cushions had a little bit of give. It does have a little bit of weight to it, so just be aware of that. But, overall, a lot of the details in the chair is really nice. Some nice aging done in the cushion area. But yeah, give it a like. Let me know what you think of the video. Simo says, collect what you like. Be awesome to one another. To the next video. I'll see you later.